All right, everyone. This is Alvaro here in Newark, New Jersey, with one of my great friends and old-time producer that I've met. Had the great pleasure to meet him, his brother, and really get to see his work just evolve into some great productions. Moses, Big Moses. A lot of you guys know him by Big Moses. We're here in Newark, and Moses, I thank you for your time, for joining me here.
My pleasure.
After so many years. Just wanted to catch up with you. I know you and I had run into each other a few times, and just, discuss the industry, some of the changes that have happened through the years. When I first met you, I would believe is probably late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Tell me, first of all, a little bit about yourself for those who do not know who Big Moses is.
All right. Well, I'm basically a self-taught engineer who was working with my brother in the studio, and I just started to learn how to produce, I guess, around 16. And then when it came to house music, it was the music of the times. So I listened to a lot of what people were doing, but I never did a record. And I guess, working with people like yourself and other people, just listening to what you guys were doing, I had my own, desires to make records too. And then I just started. And so it's funny, you was working with T. Solomon. I did a song called "I Will."
Yes.
I got an elephant memory. I don't know why, but so it was T. Solomon that got me to sell my first record.
Oh, wow.
To Illegal Records.
Right.
And it never went through. That deal didn't go through. But he took me on the train to New York, explained the whole game to me. So it was him that got me to actually put a record out.
Wow.
So my first record was with T. Solomon, and that was on Bottom Line Records with is that Nelson?
Yeah. Wow. Bottom Line Records. Yeah. They had a strong, repertoire also.
Yes.
A good catalog of stuff.
Yes.
Now, before engineering, though, were you listening to DJs? Were you in the scene at all?
No, I was very young. I was my engineering. I was 19, so I couldn't really. I think I got into the. Zanzibar.
Okay.
And so
How was your experience there?
Life changing.
Yeah.
But I was a square because I used to get dressed to go to the Zanzibar. Everybody else has got T-shirts and I used to put on shoes, hard bottom shoes.
Right.
I thought that's what you wear to go out.
Right.
So I did listen to the DJs, but it was so huge to me that I never actually saw myself in that game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you figure I'm 18, 19. And then the stars, if you will, were on the stage, or so it seemed huge.
So this is early '90s, I'm assuming,
early
right?
90s, 98.
So Tony Humphries was
89.
Tony Humphries still at Zanzibar?
I think he was, but off and on, he traveled a lot back then.
But so your first, I guess, glimpse to hearing a sound system like that, right?
Yeah.
Getting people dancing. What did you feel like?
I couldn't move. I couldn't, because it was huge. I couldn't explain it. It was like 88, 89. And listen to that sound system and just being in the middle of it, looking at the lights.
Yeah.
It's like I was like mesmerized, So I couldn't move. Definitely, I just was like, oh my God, this is.
And the only reason I ask is because some of the conversations we have with our friends is like that experience is gone from today's world.
Yes.
Kids go to a bar with a little speaker on the corner, they drink, and there might be a DJ playing in the background, and to them that's like, wow, I went to this great party. When our days we grew up with such a massive experience.
Experience is the word.
Of sound.
Exactly.
Lights.
Exactly.
And all of that played together.
The energy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
People were just to dance. That's what it was about, and it wasn't about picking up a girl. If you met someone, you met, but that wasn't the initial intent.
Yes, I went for the music, and I still today I go for the music. Like I just,
Yeah. So after Zanzibar, did that give you that energy to?
Again, like I said, I know I said it a few times. It was too big. I said, this is amazing. I just didn't see myself. Yeah. It was Cassio Ware.
Yeah.
Who actually gave me the name Big Moses, because I was doing a lot of stuff for him for Moving Records.
Okay.
So he was putting records on a Moving. I was his engineer. And
is that how you met a lot of the people? Is by just being their engineer?
Being their engineer, because I didn't go out like that. So a lot of people came to the studio, and I just would play stuff for them. Hey, this is what I've been working on. And it was Wayne Gardner who gave me that last push. It was Casio say, hey man, call yourself Big Moses, boom, boom, but I'm not like Casio, so
Right.
I don't have that extroverted,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
personality
So,
of it.
he says, nah, you should do this, you should do that. So I said, okay, I'll try it. But it was Wayne Gardner who gave me that polishing. He said, nah, man, when you do a record, because he did the warning.
Yep.
And then he was doing it. He was working.
Yes.
And
He was doing a lot for Strictly at that time.
Yes. And he was just so polished.
Yep.
And that's what made me say, okay, I want my music to sound like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Now, let's touch base on engineering itself.
Sure.
Right, because a lot of people don't know what engineering is. Unfortunately,
Okay.
with the technology that we have today, everyone's a producer, engineer, master, and you're done. Here's the file. Play my CD.
Right.
Back in the day, you walked into a studio that had big boards.
Yes.
Right, and every board, had a port that was designated for a particular sound or a particular instrument. So explain to me what engineering is to you.
What engineering is to me is coming into a facility like you said and building a record from scratch. Okay, I'm talking about like the concept of what you want to do. A lot of people in the time I was sampling records, so they may sample a drum track, but the thing is, the process was way different. We used tape, you know what I mean? Magnetic audio tape. So we and MIDI because it was of the time. So we sequence things on a computer, but the EQing was by hand. There was no softwares that existed that did it the way we do it now. So it was a much longer process. And to do a record took a month maybe, or at least a couple of weeks just to do one record. Now people are doing records in 15, 20 minutes.
What do you think makes a great engineer? And who do you look up to as far as an engineer in the industry, whether it's jazz, house music? Have you ever listened to a record, right? Because you have that ear now and say, wow, this sounds great.
Yeah, the guy that mixed Chic stuff, Bob Clearmountain. And Bruce Sweetian, what they did was, and this other guy who's not really well known, his name is Joe Entile. He used to work at House of Music on West Orange. The way these guys, okay, think about it like taking a picture. Okay, that's what I look at engineering is. Okay, the way I'm able to capture the sound. You have the idea, the way you're going to sing it, the way I place my mic, the way I'm capturing it, and how it, to me, what a good engineer is, I make the record sound as organic as possible, as if you're there watching a live performance.
Right.
But it feels good. That's the only way I can really put it. There's not much technique.
Right. But it's
feel a lot.
It's also the engineer who makes the sound, the record sound fuller.
And bring out the personality of what the person's trying to convey. So I think a good engineer lets that person shine, as well as a good producer. I think it goes hand in hand.
Right.
If you're coming in to sing a song, I don't want you to sound like me. I don't want you to sound like Aretha Franklin. I want you to sound like you.
Right.
And I think that's what makes a good producer. And I think engineering is the same thing. If you got this record and you want people to pull their hair out at this one point, how am I going to bring that forth?
Right.
Where am I going to put the EQs? Where am I going to put the frequency to get that emotion? Right. And that's where,
So there has to be a good relationship
between technique and feel.
Wow. Do you think this art has died?
A lot of it has. And it's our fault. The people before, like we're not passing it on.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because Josh had mentioned something like that too about just the music itself. The torch wasn't handed down to the new generation.
We didn't want to let it go. I think that a lot of us in this house industry are arrogant and way too sophisticated to say, hey, no, this is for you too, this is for us.
Right.
Instead of this is mine and I know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's sad.
Now, touching on the arrogance, because we have to be honest, and I myself have come, full face with situations where doors been slammed on my face and opportunities have been left, and it's almost ironic to say that the good people the people that don't seem to want to maybe play the game or step on anybody's toes or go around just to get their name suffer most of the time. You know,
always.
And they get abused pretty much by the system, opportunities, or just being looked over.
Right.
What were some of the things that at the beginning you found very challenging once you started producing your stuff and going to these labels and say, hey, take a listen to my song?
There's a million. Okay, I used to go to the labels and they literally, like you said, man, get out of here with that stuff, because I wasn't David Morales. I wasn't Louis Vega. I wasn't these guys who they, quote unquote, trusted.
Yeah.
And it was challenging, but what it did was this, and I told, certain labels that, I said, well, you know what, you made me a better producer, because I went back in the lab and says, I was just decided I won't be denied. I kept going back and kept getting doors slammed in my face. It made me stronger, actually. So I fought to do good records. And that was it. It was challenging because I wasn't in, a lot went with that.
Would you say that Brighter Day was a turning point for you?
It was a turning point because, and I sold that record for cheap because of who I was.
Right.
Important, when I say who I was in this game. If I was Louis Vega with the same record, I would have gotten a lot of money.
Sure.
So it was a turning point for me and for the label and for Kenny Bobien.
Yep.
King Street was in a. Oops, should I have said that?
No.
King Street was in this little apartment or a little office.
Sure.
I sold him the record, and boom, he was somewhere else. The record they're still selling it today.
Sure.
That record was released in '95, I believe. They're still selling it today. It's been on S3 in Japan.
Yeah.
He's licensed it a million times.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money off of it. I made some money off of it.
Right.
And it was just one of those things. Yes, it was a big turning point, a huge turning point.
Now, if you could go back to that day where you signed it on that line and you signed over the record, what would you do differently now with all of your knowledge that you know about licensing, about everything?
Okay. Going back to your comment, being abused.
Yep.
We're artists, so of course we're going to be abused. This is something we do to live. I'm like, I gotta just do this. Our business part wasn't always together. So now that I've learned how to do business, I've always been a professional person, but just a business person. Yeah. I would more than likely put it out myself. Okay. Because I have the balls to do it. You know what I mean? And also, the second thing is that I would think differently. If I would maybe choose different distributors. Okay, I'll put it out myself over here, but I'm going to use this label over here to do it. Yeah. And I would spread it out more diverse places. Simply
because it's so important. We have a lot of young kids that want to put their feet into what we do. And I tell this to everyone because I've learned a tough way dealing with people. You really, it's not understanding only of what you want to do as far as I want to put this record out, but it's about understanding how the industry works, what licensing is, the rights that you have as a producer or writer or anything else. And these little things that you forget just because you want $500 or $1,000, and that might seem fine up front because you're hungry. It does creep up to you years down the road if that record turns out to be something big or in a movie or in any place that you're like, wow, I never thought of this. So I just want to really make it clear to the young producers or DJs or engineers that whatever part you have in the industry, learn what's behind it to protect yourself.
Absolutely. And as well, everything you do is valuable. You never look at it like, because I'm not who these other people are, or who you think I should be, or who you think I'm not, that your stuff is not valuable. Because at one point, Louis Vega was in a basement somewhere trying to hook it up, or David Morales, so all of it's valuable,
So after Kenny Bobien, first of all, how'd you guys meet?
I met Kenny Bobien because my brother was producing him. So when I was about 16, they were doing a song for South Africa. It was apartheid, so they were doing a song. And again, we were in a huge studio. We were in 9 West recording, and they were recording a song with a fabulous engineer named Joe Marno. And Kenny was the artist on the song. My brother Danny was producing the record. I met Kenny, I met Eddie Stockley, and another gentleman. So I'm 16, and it was, how can I explain it? That was life-changing, because I'm like, man, I'm in this huge studio with these great artists, with this great song. this lady pouring thousands of dollars into this project. You know, I'm just watching cash being handled. I was like, man, this is big. And then I met him there, but I never thought I would be producing him because my brother is my older brother. You know, I look up to him, but I never thought I would be the guy. Okay, now I'm producing Kenny Bobien, and with a good record. You know what I'm saying? And Kenny's a great artist. He's a real pro. So I met him there, and then I came to him, approached him with a record, and he wrote it.
Oh, so Kenny wrote the song.
Yeah.
And you guys just collaborate as far as creating what Brighter Day is.
Right. Well, we did another song before that because there was a young lady named Keisha Hall. So I came to him to write the song for me. So I gave him a track. He wrote the song, and he demoed it.
Oh, okay.
He sounded so much better than the artist. You know, no disrespect. I love Keisha, but I said, man, he really sounds good on the demo for her. And I'm like, man, you know what? Why don't we do a record together? So I wrote a record and gave it to him, and the track was, this is Brighter Days at this point, so the track was kind of, 90s jumpy, piano. And then what happened was I did this track one day. The track you hear for Brighter Days was originally an instrumental. It was supposed to be a moody instrumental. Right. I said to myself, I wonder what Kenny's vocal would sound on this. So it was a mistake. I said, you know what, I'm gonna run the vocal on it. Of course, it was in a different key, so I transposed it so that way it can fit the key that we sang, that he sang the original track for Brighter Days on. And it was like, I can't, nothing really, when you do a good record, you expect something big to happen. But nothing really happened. You just kind of sit back and just go, oh, man, this is really good. Yeah. And then people kept walking by the studio just looking in like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had such a sound. And I think when it just worked out. I mean, I remember in the studio praying too, like, man, I need to do a good record, man. I just really need to.
Yeah.
So that day I spent like 12 hours in the studio, which I don't do.
Right.
Because when you're in the studio too long, you're not, it just.
Right.
But that day I just spent a long time and focus, didn't eat. Just, I need to, do this.
Yeah.
And that's when the idea came, let me try his vocal on it. But, and it worked out well. And honestly, let me just say this because it's being recorded before I die. The cadence of the record is backwards, in my opinion. The first chord is a major chord. That was supposed to be the turnaround that was supposed to be the ending chord for it to come around. But the way it ended up happening is that the last chord in the sequence was the first chord. That's something I would have never done.
Wow.
Again, so it was a mistake.
Right.
And it just sounded like, oh my God, that's coming. You really haven't heard another Brighter Days.
Right.
Because I could do a track like that, but the way I think, the way I approach music,
it would have been different.
It would have been different.
Yeah, I got
so, thanks for all of it, but I think that's a part of the reason why I'm not arrogant or puffed up, because most of the things that happen to me creatively just come into my head. So how can I act funny when, hey man, I wouldn't sit there and it just jumps into my head.
But being how good the song is and the attention that it got, you have every right to have your head blown as big as you want it to. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? I don't like being around people like that, so I never wanted to be that.
Okay,
like
excellent.
That. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all about me, and I'm, hey, listen.
Yeah. Because I've known people that might have had one record and that's it. You know, they're golden. They're stamped their name on on the street, and you need to treat me with respect.
You can't get them on the phone.
Exactly. Exactly. So as Brighter Day expanded and exploded, did that open doors to you? Did other opportunities come off of that?
Yes. A lot of opportunities came off of that, but being who I was and who I am, I'm very loyal. I just kept going to King Street. People thought I almost had a deal.
Yep.
They thought I had a deal with King Street. I said, no, whenever I do a record, I go to you first. If you give me he was the first one out of everybody, and I've been to Strictly, I've been to Emotive, I've been Strictly Emotive. Of course, we went to
Bottom Line.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Well, Bottom Line was the first record I put out. He was cool,
right?
But I didn't have a contact with him.
Gotcha.
That was T. Solomon that kind of did the whole thing. So these other labels, and the way I walk in, it's like, hi, Big Moses, man, I got a record,
Right.
Instead of, yo, check me out, I got it. I don't have that.
Yes.
And I'm never gonna, because it's like, that's so, so I always got like a lot of doors slammed in my face. Hisa was the first one that said, okay, we'll take a chance on you.
Wow.
And so from that point, and you can ask Kenny, and he'll confirm it, that spawned his career, and I also spawned Stephanie Cook's career from that too, because I would go to Hisa with the records, and he put them out, and then, they did well.
So what projects came after that, or how did you feel after putting out such a staple record? Because Brighter Days is a tremendous song for me.
I appreciate it. I do too.
The word,
yes.
the feel, it's just a very one of those songs that to me you could play it at any year and it still sounds fresh and beautiful. And there's another record that you made that we'll talk about later that gives me that same feeling. So what happened after that? Did you start producing differently? Was your aim to just stay consistent in the game?
I tried to stay consistent. I never wanted to have a flavor of the month record. I never wanted to do anything that sounded like this was done in the 90s or this was done in the 80s. Right. I tried to stay away from that. I just wanted to do good music. So after that, I think I was doing remixes for people and stuff like that. So can't remember exactly what remix I did. Oh, actually, I did. You're the reason why. You're the reason why I sing for a label.
Okay. Not for Kenny
but Kenny sang on it.
Right.
But I was just paid as a remixer for that.
Gotcha.
And if you noticed, I used like that little whistle on the bass, like for the because I just came up off of Brighter Days not too long. From that. So that's
did some of the guys that slammed the door didn't know who your name was? Were they reaching out to you? Did you?
Absolutely. And that's when I got that's when there was a shift in my attitude after that. I said, damn it, you know what? 2 minutes ago,
right?
I couldn't get arrested now.
Right.
So then I realized I don't have any friends. I mean, you're my friend, but I'm saying like, when it comes to that, it's like, oh, we're not really friends. This is just
business.
Yeah.
Now, why? And it's a shame because, like you, I have a group of friends, and life has gravitated me to people like yourself.
You're right.
Down to earth. Not big-headed.
Right.
I mean, Josh, I think that wonderful human being, just down to earth guy,
It's me. Thank you.
And it's just thank you. And it's just great to know that there's people like that still out in this industry. Danny Krebit was another guy who said, I sent him an email and I said, listen, I'm nobody, but I'm interested in what you've contributed. I'm interested in your life and what you do and what you're still doing, in music. And he sat down with me for 4 or 5 hours and told me everything that he needed to tell. So there is hope.
There are
reaching good people. Unfortunately, there's a majority of people that they don't care about what you have to say or the message behind it.
Absolutely.
So when the doors started opening for you, it didn't change who you are, but did it make you a little bit worried about the industry?
It didn't make me worried. What it made me realize is how fickle people are, and how I'm trying not to curse, but like full of it's kind of it's discouraging. Why is it discouraging? Because we're sitting here writing songs about life. We're supposed to be the quote unquote life givers. In other words, we sit up here in the studio, we write songs that are supposed to be uplifting, encouraging, but there's so much garbage going on in the background. I'm like, so where? And I guess I'm a little naive in that. I'm kind of a hippie. It's like I want to walk in my truth. I want to be who I am, wherever, rich or poor. And,
And it's a shame that this industry, if you are someone like that, it just steps all over you.
Sure.
And for those who take it upon themselves to kind of do this on their own, financially is a disaster. They won't make the money that they would need to constantly put out something. It's not like when the industry first started that you had the opportunity to press and sell records. Now with record stores gone, records, vinyl not selling anymore, it's literally dwindled to nothing, right? And I get this conversation with people about the internet. People say, oh, well, sell it through the internet. You'll sell millions and millions of copies. And I'm like, it's not as easy as you think.
Right.
It's driving traffic, and even just the people stealing and burning it and giving it to everyone. It's a different topic on its own.
Yes, totally.
It's what's your take on that, on technology,
Honestly,
on how it's changed?
Honestly, what I know about technology, I think that the labels are. I don't see how they couldn't see that. I think Atlantic Records should have started AtlanticRecords.com a long time ago. Like, in other words, I don't see why the labels couldn't see that this was the wave of the future. They should have found a way to code the records, just the way they coded DVDs.
Correct.
I don't know why they didn't see that. I totally saw it. I'm like, yo, you guys should be at the forefront of this.
Right.
You guys should partner with Napster. You guys should partner with these people, because this is where it's going. People are doing it now.
Yeah.
People are seeing the importance of globalization and partnering with certain other industries to, reach everyone. They should have did with the music. Again, arrogance. Oh, it's a fad. Just like rap.
Right.
Rap is a fad.
Right.
Oh, it's just this, it's just that,
Right.
And just like our music is, but our music, man, is keeping people alive, man. Just keeping people coming out. So our music is valuable. They didn't see the need to make it more valuable in terms of, to me, coding the
Supporting
music.
it?
Yeah, well, coding the music, make sure you can't copy it.
I got
Make
you.
sure you can't do this and do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Not as easy access as
Exactly.
it is, right?
This is value, and this is valuable, and it's gonna remain valuable and tangible.
Right.
Okay. Now the technology is.
I am sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Now that everybody has access to everything, it does weaken the value of the actual tangible product. And some people are putting out some good records that are making no money.
Right.
Right. It's unfortunate.
So in that note, though, right, because to me, you had a strong support system with the nightclubs, the DJs, the nightclubs, the record stores, supporting young producers, fresh producers, selling the records. You had distributors who were carrying the music,
Right.
and you had radio play you had the mix shows with DJs playing your music. All of that is gone now. Right? So you no longer have that major support like you would do everywhere else but here in the States. So it makes the game even more difficult to be successful in what you do. What is your take on how do we change that? How do you think, because I strongly believe this is one of the reasons why I talk to people as yourself, and I try to get at what can we do to turn it around? What can we do to put this music that we enjoy and has positive messages, can be uplifting, can be, can run right next to a techno,
Right.
And to me, there's money to be made in
totally
house
agree.
music.
Yes.
Why aren't we giving it that focus that it's deserved?
Because it's not as sexy as Rihanna.
Right.
And that's really it, man. Look, the labels, the marketing, the demographics,
Yep.
which I understand.
Right.
I get it. We have to make money, but we haven't again passed the torch. I think that's a lot of it. Who are we gonna put up there? I mean, I'm 44. I cannot put on some Speedos, and you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and that's the thing, it's visual.
I got you.
Now, and I think that's a part of it. But I think if we passed it to, let me tell you what's going to happen, well, which I hope doesn't happen. Our music is so good, right? That pretty soon, I just heard a record the other day. I said, man, that sounds soulful. They're going to start using soulful music mainstream, and it's going to be Rihanna that says, okay, she brought soulful to the global, and we're going to you know what I mean?
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because there are such artists like Neo that has that dance soulful type of sound.
Right.
Even Usher on some tracks that he has kind of giving that.
Yeah. So it is commercial sounding, and I call it commercial because it's on the radio.
Right.
And less deep, less
Right.
But I heard some stuff with some nice chords. I was like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? And if we don't do something about it, and I got that from Josh too, if we don't do something about it, it's going to be gone. Just like R&B. R&B is Justin Timberlake now.
Yep.
It used to be Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
But now, so who's going to be, like, when they look back, from the archives,
Yep.
it's going to look like Like, I'm talking about 30, 40 years from now.
Yes.
It's going to look like Marvin Gaye was like, like he started it, but this is the person that,
Correct.
you know, and that's unfortunate.
Has kept it alive.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and we're not passing it.
I totally agree with you in that sense. But, you know, is there enough willingness in the industry with the staple producers and DJs to really say, you know what, it's not about how much money I'm making, it's not about my name anymore. Let's put together.
Right.
Do you think something like that?
I think it should happen, but I don't think they will. These guys are still, I mean, like, man, you know, when it's over, it's over. These guys don't, and I don't want it to stop either. But I know the importance of passing it on because it was passed on to me.
Right.
Not very shiny. It was like, okay, you can have a bone.
Right, correct.
But I think you should be nicer to the younger generation. Say, hey man, come on, check this out.
Right.
Like, I play all kinds of stuff for my son. No, he's not into it.
Right.
But he knows it. But if we made it like in other words, and I got this from Larry Rawson,
Oh,
a good
Larry.
friend of mine. Yeah. He said that you know, we need younger artists to make these kids relate.
Yeah.
Because what I hear, they laugh about our music, and they usually make sounds like Colonel Abrams, like, oh, y'all just ho 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 ho, like, you know what I mean, instead of you're listening, you know,
Listening to the word.
Yeah. So we you know, like Colonel Abrams, I'll give you another one. I'll say it, and I want it on tape. It doesn't seem like he wants to pass it to anybody.
Right.
He'll have other artists that he produces, that he put himself into, and letting them, and instead of like, I have this artist that I'm going to let him be himself.
Gotcha.
Like Quincy did with Michael.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like Jimmy Jam did with Janet Jackson.
Right.
You know, Jimmy
Right.
Jam and Terry Lewis are my favorite producers. They, whatever artists they have, they make them, you know, of course you see their elements in it, but they
Right.
let that artist shine.
Right.
And I think that's what we haven't done, is let someone shine. There's some kids who would love house music if they understood and knew it. And I met a few in Miami a couple of years ago. This girl was in her 20s.
What, you went to the world
Conference.
Conference? Okay.
And she was in her 20s, she's a DJ, and she loved the music. But I tried to have a conversation with her, and she's like, I don't know that record. And this was only a couple of years ago.
I got you.
So she doesn't have a history.
Right.
And no one ever sat her down and said, hey, no, check this out. You know what I mean? I think, and it's unfortunate, and I hope there's a change, but I think it's going to be like, in 30 years, VH1, we're going to be in a retirement home with oxygen tanks. And
where
like,
are they now?
Yeah. You sit there with oxygen tanks and like, hey, you know, this was important music. Some young kid with a microphone, and we're just sitting there. Yeah, well, you know, we did this, you know, and it's unfortunate. I think we should keep it going, man.
Yeah, I think this is why I push so hard to. I mean, I've sent stuff to XM Radio, anywhere that would give me an opportunity, because I just don't want to DJ. You know, I want to introduce the history, interviews like yourself, talk to people about real issues, because unfortunately we do have real issues in the industry. And I know even with DJs, I mean, the door's been slammed on me a long time ago that it puts me in a situation where if I want to keep the torch alive, it's got to be me doing it. You know, putting the event together and trying to sell my event to whatever clubs are left now, like CL or something. They only want a name header that's going to fill their bar up and they're going to make money. It's not even... Oh, I believe in your music, or I believe in what you want to do. It's how many people are going to reserve for bottle service.
Who has to draw?
You know? And it's never been like that. And I guess that's what I find so disappointing, that I think that we're slowly losing such a valuable piece of music, such a valuable piece of history. Okay. I'm also not naive to want to relive the 80s or 90s, but you know what? With it's not just a sampling. These are songs that are constructed, well thought, that hit you in your heart, that have a positive message if you were just to listen, that can relate to anyone across the world. And it has. Because people in Africa, in Japan, in any other country but here seem to love it and want it more. So I don't know who's holding the strings per se here in the States that just keeps slamming the door and saying no.
Easy. It's easy. That's a good, easy question. I can't say who, but I see what's happening. It's control. If I let these house guys in, quote unquote, or make it the music, there's so many, I mean, it's going to get out of control. They have to bring it down to these few people, you know, the T.I.s, you know, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj. I just have a few artists that I can control that's not going to go all over the place. In the 70s, you know, people like Bob James were charting. People like, you know, the records from the Dude. These things were charting, and they stayed on the charts for years because they were that good. So these newcomers, if you will, couldn't catch a break because their music was cheesy. So they slowly made all the records cheesy, if you will, or allowed these cheesy records to happen so that way they can get them in and out like a factory. And I get it. Marketing,
I got you.
Marketing, I really understand it.
Money.
Yeah, I really understand it. I mean, from a marketing standpoint, listen, man, and if more people would understand this, you would take it less personal.
Right.
Here's a guy who owns Seagram's ginger ale, who buys a record label because it makes money.
Right.
He could care. He just wants to make money. So if I buy this label, they're going to put on a board.
Yeah.
This record sold this many records from this time to this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do more records that sound like this.
Yep. I agree.
And we should be able to sell that. It's all forecast and we don't know. But they could care less about creativity. It's like, how much money can we make from this time?
Yeah.
And who did this record sell to? The demographic 18 to 24?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to make more records that sound like that.
Right.
And that's it. So let's keep that factory going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you got this underground house song that's life-changing, they'll have to restructure everything. Okay, well then, who's it being sold to? Okay, well, like we have to, you know,
Right, I see what
they don't
you're
want
saying.
to do all of that. And the reason they don't want to do all of that is because they don't know all of that. They want to see it kind of happen on its own, and then we'll just follow that.
Gotcha. That trend, that money-making trend.
Yes, let's keep that going. You know what I mean?
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. And I really understand it. I understand these corporate guys. I understand where they're coming from, and it's not personal. Again, like you're saying, Alvaro, what are we going to do? We have to keep fighting and keep putting records out for free almost. Because the money's just not there.
Yeah, but I also think that, you know, and I've been known to say things how they are, but I mean, if you have someone like Joe Cosell, Little Louis Vega, who's still doing his thing, you know, David Morales, and takes the time out not only to promote themselves or their music, come to my party, but to say, learn the history behind what I've done. You know, learn of other people that have struggled, right? Because when you look at their history, you realize that they were making a lot of money. So if it comes to a money sense, there's plenty of money to be made.
There is. But now here's where maybe I'm wrong with what I've seen. If you're not in the right clique, it ain't going down.
That's true.
You know, and I was never the, you know, I wasn't in the Puerto Rican clique. I'm not gay, and I'm not the coke man. That's how I always looked at it. You know, if I was in anyone, that's how I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I looked at it. Well, I kind of stand on my own.
Right.
I go to clubs by myself.
Right.
If I was down with, you know, certain crew, you know, and I got that way of thinking when I did the remix for Patti LaBelle, New Day.
Wow.
And
how was that experience?
It was sobering. I think that was the one that made me say, okay, I'm kind of done with this industry. Because it's like, okay, I submitted my remix in the right amount of time, and you know, Timmy heard it, said he liked it, and that's all I heard. They didn't take my mix. Fine, that's happened to me before. But then when I heard the records come out, the mixes that were accepted, I'm like, they're okay. They weren't bad, but mine fit. So then that means, okay, I see what's happening. And I wasn't in that. I remember I'm not being in those circles.
I got you.
You know.
How did you meet Timmy?
I met Timmy by going to the shelter and standing in a DJ booth. And he's like, you know what's funny about this Timmy? People have a lot of horror stories about him.
Yes.
And a lot of people are scared of him.
Yep.
I'd never been. I don't know if that was part of it, or maybe I was too naive to be scared of him, or whatever. But I'd sit in the DJ booth, and
But he just allowed you? How'd you guys?
that's what I'm trying to say. I didn't realize what was happening. He was playing my records. That's the one thing I found very interesting. I think a lot of people like my records, but a lot of people don't play them. I think they listen to them at home. That's right, because I don't really do bangers per se.
Right.
I do, music, and so, but when I go to the shelter on Hubert Street, the second shelter, not the first one, he was playing my records a lot, and I was shocked. So I was, first of all, grateful. I used to run them, and I was like, like 2, 3 in a row on my records. I'm like, I can't explain that feeling. It's like, wow. So fine, I start going to the DJ booth, because, I'm shy, and like, I'm usually at the bar, but I start going to DJ booth, and he's playing. But then when I'm at the shelter, I'm looking at people dancing, and that's what I usually do. If I go to DJ booth, I'm looking at watching people move, see what they move to, how they react to the new record that comes in. So that's what I do, study people. So after that, getting that feeling, getting that vision, when I do a record, I envision that. Like, how are they going to move to this? How are they going to feel this? I mean, down to the lyrics. When they move and sing this record, is it going to throw them off? The lyrics have to fall in a certain cadence, in my opinion, so it can roll off their mouth and they can dance easily. I gave Timmy a CD. I'm literally handed it to him, and he played it like
right there and then.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, okay. I didn't think nothing of it.
So there was a trust that what he liked, what you gave, whatever you made.
Every time.
Wow.
And I didn't realize, I guess, how quote unquote big that was.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
I didn't realize it. This is when Freddie Sannon. Freddie Sannon was the main person that wouldn't give me a break. And I love Freddie, and we became close. But he wouldn't give me I'm like, yo, Freddie, I got some stuff. He's like, I'm not interested. Fine. When Timmy started playing my records, he was another one that said, okay, well, hey, there might be something in here,
Gotcha.
Timmy started playing my records, and Freddie kept coming to me and couldn't believe it. He said, wait a minute, you gave Timmy a record and he played it? I said, every time.
That is big.
Every time. And because and the thing is, it was good for Timmy, it was good for me, because Timmy had something no one ever heard before. No one else had it. So it made Timmy look like, well, what is this? So I gave him a couple of tracks. I gave him a few tracks, and there was Ambrosia singing on the tracks. And they were like, well, we want it. We need to have it. It makes the shelter move a certain way. It brings the energy to a different place. And that's how I met Timmy. That was it. But I didn't realize there was some other things that were not cool.
So talking about Ambrosia, That's How Much I Love You.
That's How Much I Love You. That came out.
That song is another song that is a must-have in anyone's crate. It's a simple track, but man, does it speak volume. What was your dealing now that you have? Did you know off the bat that That's How Much I Love You was gonna do well?
I didn't, because we did another song called What Goes Around Must Come Around, which never came out. But actually, I had a few records with Ambrosia that never came out, which I might just put out. We did 2 records that night. I had 2 tracks. She wrote to both of them. That's How Much I Love You was one of them. The second one was What Goes Around Comes Around. I thought What Goes Around Comes Around was going to be the better record. That's How Much I Love You had more of an impact on the people. So I did bring that to these guys. Again, I'm very loyal. If I start doing records with you, I'm going to keep bringing them to you. So I started bringing it, and they wanted to put it out, and they did. Shelter put it out. So when I did it, I thought it was good. But I didn't think it was going to do what it did.
And again, did you get the sense of, okay, now I got another hit, doors opening again, people that didn't talk to you are not talking to you again?
That's a sad story. What happened was this. Because I was working with these guys, Freddie and Timmy, it was almost as if people started moving away from me, because I'm in that clique.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, okay. And then I felt a sense, I don't know if it's true, but I felt a sense of people hearing, hey man, this is my guy. Don't come near him, because they have this
from Timmy.
I don't know if it was from Timmy, or I don't know if it was Freddie.
From that camp.
That camp. That's what I started feeling. And I'll say that I don't know if it's true, but I believe that. You know? And believe it or not, I have no issues with these guys, you know. But that's what I think. I don't know. It's weird. I think people started moving away from me.
Yeah.
And I started doing well, if you will, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, I met Nile Rodgers at the shelter, and I looked over. He was in the booth. I looked over, and I said, "Nile Rodgers." I was like, "Huh, holy, you know, that's Nile Rodgers."
Yeah.
I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Nile." I said, "What are you doing here?" You know, I can't. You know.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, this is my joint. This is what I do." And I was like, "Wow, man!" And I told him who he was. I said, "Do you know who you are?" You know, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay, Chic and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but everything else
He
that he's
did
done, of course.
The Rod Stewart, if
Yep.
you want. Now,
Yep.
that record, I said you showed them that this music, because it was basically a disco record,
Yep.
can go bananas.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, yo, you are like, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just gave him a lot of, and then we got cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So, yeah, a lot of doors opened. I've met a lot of people, and I was supposed to do a record with one of the Sister Sledge people. You know, but things got weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. One of those things,
Things
huh?
just got weird. I was like, man, I'm not catching.
Right. You're not getting that love again. Yeah, because Timmy is one DJ that I would love to interview. I think he's got so much history, and I'm not just looking at him as the DJ, but as everything that he's done through Atlantic, who he was, his involvement. I mean, you know, it's just tremendous. The doors that he opened for, you know, other groups like 10 City, you know, or just giving someone opportunity and putting their record out on Atlantic. I think he's got so much history that I would love to tap in.
Yes, and also,
and maybe that's what gives him that edge of, hey, I'm Timmy, you know what I mean? And then if you look at him as a DJ, the guy could play.
no, he's phenomenal.
You know, to go 12, 14, 16 hours and run things the way you do and playing, you know, anything, not being afraid of taking that chance still.
I think that's what makes him who he is. He takes a chance, and he's not. It's weird. He's not playing for the people.
Yes.
He's not really playing for himself.
Correct.
And you know what he has? He has an uncanny ability to call it. He knows what's good.
Yeah.
And the way, like you said, the way he plays it, and I think I've analyzed him. This was about 2 years ago. I was in Florida, and I analyzed him like never before. And I think I got it. He never makes the people tired. He doesn't like what's his name? What other DJ said? Talk about another DJ said that he doesn't beat the crap out of them, like, you know, work them. He just keeps them. He just keeps. No, well, he doesn't. He just keeps them at this level, this high level all night. And you could when Timmy plays, you could dance all night.
Yeah.
Or you could just dance and you'll never get tired.
I mean, I have most of his tapes still from, you know, the mixes, and what I look for as a DJ is, how did you do that? Like, how did you run this with that and just make it sound so good? You know, Tony Humphries was another one where he could run two vocals, you know, one behind the other, and it didn't sound like it sounded like, what? How the hell do you do this?
Yeah, sound like music, like a new
exactly
song.
Yeah, that's talent. You know, that's talent about him. Kudos to Timmy, because I think he's going on strong. You know, he's still doing his thing.
He's still going on strong. Yes.
What's next for you?
Next for me, my dynamic is different now. I'm married with 2 small children.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm married for a while, but that's like most of my time is in that. So I don't have the time I had before to just invest in records. But I started a label, Moise Recordings, and I haven't put anything out yet. But I think that's what I'm gonna do next. Just put some stuff out. I've done remixes for people, you know, for New Generation Records, Larry Laporte, you know. So I've done some stuff for them. And I just did a song for Johnny Montana called Amazing by Don Williams.
I like Johnny Montana.
Yeah.
He's got a good sound, man. He's very diverse. I like he's more of an orchestrative. Uses a lot of different sounds. It's not your standard just kick.
Right.
I like his style. Good.
So that's the stuff I've been doing lately. Just to keep it going, just to keep it alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever thought of DJing at all?
I do DJ. Actually, I played on Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I played with Kevin Oliphant at the warehouse in Orange.
Kevin O?
Yeah.
From Zanzibar? Oh wow. How's he doing?
He's doing well.
Yeah?
He's doing very well. Yeah.
Okay,
He's
that's
doing-
good, man. I remember him when only time I played at Zanz, and I haven't seen him since.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Kevin. Yeah. Good friends actually.
And do you want to push your DJing more, or just you like it how it is whenever you get a chance? Because that seems to be the next thing that a lot of people are trying to
You
get
have
into.
to. You have to. And I knew this a long time ago, but I never knew the value of it. Back in the day, my first time in Miami, I was getting a lot of. I didn't realize.
What are your thoughts on the conference? Have you been going there for a few years now?
I've been going there for 15.
Okay. Have you seen a change
Oh yeah.
for the good or the bad?
Both.
Okay.
Both. It's gotten huge. That's what I think the good part of it.
Right.
is.
You feel that it's more about the money now, like from these clubs and places, more than actual. I mean, from what I heard, and I've never made it to anyone, but I remember New York had a conference way back in the early '80s.
New Music Seminar.
That's right. And you had that. You had seminars where you spoke to producers and they spoke to people. Does that happen?
It does. It does. There are conference. It's actually a conference.
Okay.
And there are people on panels that speak to young artists that are trying to make it, or people who aren't out yet. My question is, who do they have on the panels?
I got you.
So if you got some cat that knows nothing about nothing and he's on the panel,
Doesn't get anywhere. I got you. Yeah.
So I think they should have. I don't know if Louis on a panel or not, but I think they should have those.
Right.
It should be. I don't know. Yes, he probably has, but I don't really know because I've never been to the actual conference. I go to networking.
Right.
So I would rather have the top guys on the panels, and maybe the top distributors, but I can't really say because I've never went to the conference. When I saw pictures, it was like I know him, and I know these guys are
Right.
What can he tell?
Right. What history do you have? Okay. I got you. So you still are able to network properly there?
Yeah, but I actually this was very refreshing. The last conference I went to, I had a conversation with this guy named Lionel. He's from France, and he told me that our music is large, and not only large, but it's soulful.
Yep.
And it's a lot of young new jocks who are starting from their starting point and moving on, which is a shame because they're not reaching back and they don't know the history. And he's saying what we need to do is get with these guys and show them some stuff. And it's unfortunate. And plus, Louis, Kenny Dope. I hate to keep mentioning these guys, but these guys are the guys. They can't be everywhere. They can't be everywhere. They can't. If he's in Ibiza this month,
Right. When is he gonna have the time?
Who's doing over here then?
Yeah.
And, what I'm saying?
Versa.
So it's up to us to blow up, man. And do what we got to do, like to get out there. I think we just need to make better records and do better promotional and marketing like he does. He's an excellent marketer.
Yeah, of course.
Excellent. He looks a certain way all the time.
Yep.
And which is strange because he's such a private person.
Louis?
But he's a private person. He doesn't. I mean, if you ever heard him talk loud? I mean, this guy doesn't.
No.
You don't even know if he's around, unless he's playing.
Right.
So that's when he's. But other than that, man, he's in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
But he knows that he's a product. He knows his value.
Right.
And I really dig that.
Well, I definitely thank you for your time,
My
Moses.
pleasure.
If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
You can get at me on my Facebook page, Moise Laporte. That's my real name, Big Moses, and just kind of see what I'm doing.
Yeah, excellent, man. I look forward to listening to your new stuff.
Yes.
Congratulations for everything, and thank you for your time again.
My absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.